Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Care Tax. Hope everyone is doing good and please take care of yourself in this COVID situations. So today I am going to discuss with you an important topic under the GST Act, that is the time of supply under GST. So this topic is very much important for the students appearing in the professional courses as well as students who are doing their academic courses where this syllabus is there. And also this provision is very much important for the business and entrepreneurs because time of supply is a topic, is a provision under GST which tells the taxpayers when the tax liability gets triggered. Means it is very important to understand where the tax liability gets triggered, because we understood in the last presentation that the valuation of goods. So valuation tells you about the value on which tax liability should be paid. However, the time of supply tells you that the time at which the tax liability of a taxpayer gets triggered. So let us see. We'll start. I have tried to explain both the time of supply in the same slide. Time of supply of goods and time of supply of services, both are different. I have tried to explain that in the single slide. So if you have any query, kindly let me know in the comment box. Let's start. So as you can see, the time of supply is discussed under section 12 and section 13 of the CGST Act 2017. Read with various rules that has been prescribed. So let us see what is mentioned under the time of supply of goods, which is covered under section 12. So very important provision. It is important that you listen the entire presentation rather than so that you can understand it better. So let us see. So time of supply in case of forward charge. So when basically it means when do you pay tax or when you raise the invoices. Okay. So in case of forward charge, the following are the dates, and the earlier the dates of the following will be considered for triggering the liability. So the first is in case of forward charge, date of issue of invoice or the last date on which invoice is required to be issued under section 31(2). And second is date on which supplier receives the payment. So applicable now for dealers who are doing regular scheme. Under regular scheme means those who are not following the composition scheme. For them this provision is not relevant. So for taxpayers under the regular scheme, there are two things to keep in mind. First is date of issue of invoice, and second is when the due date on which you are required to issue the invoice. This provision has been kept because many times taxpayers does not issue the invoices when it is required to issue. So what is the date on which it should be issued has been mentioned under section 32 or 31 of the CGST Act. So let's see what is the last date on which invoice should be issued. So in case where movement of goods is involved, means when the supply involves movement of goods, then in that case the invoice should be issued before or at the time of removal of goods, right? In case where the movement of supply doesn't involve movement of goods, in case where supply involves movement of goods, the invoice should be raised before or at the time of delivery of goods or when the goods are made available to the recipients, right? So very important provision, very straightforward. Like when you will have to pay the tax, when the tax liability arises, is either when you raise the invoice or the date on which you will raise the invoice. I mean, the earlier of the two dates will be the date on which tax liability gets triggered. So the date means normally the invoices when the goods are removed, you raise the invoices, right? But sometimes, as I discussed earlier also, you may not raise the invoice on timely basis. So government has said the last date on which invoice should be issued is if the movement of goods is involved in case of supply of goods, then the before or time of removal of goods, or if movement is not involved, then before or at the time of delivery of goods or when the goods are made available to the recipient. So very straightforward. You have to keep things in mind: date of issue of invoice or the last date when the invoice should have been raised, right? So next point is in case of reverse charge of goods. So the cases where the supplier is not liable to collect the tax from the recipient of goods, but it is the recipient of goods who is liable to pay the tax, then in that case the tax liability will arise based on the earlier of the following dates. So first is the date of receipt of goods by the recipient, Second is the date on which payment is entered in the books of account of the recipient, date on which payment is debited in the bank account of the recipient, or date immediately following 30 days date of invoice or any other document issued by the supplier, right? So what does this reverse charge provision says? So this reverse charge provision says that the tax liability in the hands of recipient, मतलब recipient के हाथ में टैक्स लायबिलिटी तब अराइज होगा either on the date of receipt of the receipt of goods, or on which payment has been made to the supplier and which is entering the books of the recipient, and or date on which the payment has been debited in the bank account of the recipient, or if you have if you the following above, or if the date following 30 days from the date of invoice, means if the supplier raises the invoice and 30 days has passed and above three events have not taken place, then this will be the date when you should have tax liability should arise, right? So very straightforward provision in this case also. Means to summarize, it basically says that in case of reverse charge you have to check 4 dates, and the earlier of the 4 dates will be considered as the date when the tax liability in the hands of recipient gets triggered, right? So if you are not able to determine the dates based on the above 4 criteria, then the date of entry of in the books of account of receipt shall be the time of supply of goods. Means the date of entry of receipt of goods in the recipient's books will be considered as the date on which the tax liability will arise, right? So very straightforward provision. So normally this case doesn't arise many times, because there are few situations where this reverse charge under goods will be applicable. So this provision doesn't arise many times, right? So now let's see the third part. So in case of supply of vouchers, time of supply. So the provision under section 12 says that date of issue of voucher will be considered as the date of time of supply of goods. However, if the supply is identifiable, means if the supply is particularly identified, means what items you are going to purchase and you purchase at that time, then time of supply will be at that point only. But if in other cases, the date of redemption of voucher will be considered as the time of supply. Very clear. Hope this provision is very clear. So now let's move to the fourth point, very important provision, and this has to be understood with total clarity, fully. So in case of continuous supply of goods. So what does continuous supply of goods means? Let us first understand that. So though I have not described it here, so continuous supply of goods as per the GST Act means that something where the supply of goods takes place in continuous manner, means it takes in continuous manner, like the supply of gas through pipeline, right? So this supply of gas through pipeline takes through continuously. So how will you determine the time of supply in those cases? So the provisions under section 34(1)(4) provides a clarity on the matter. So it says the date of issue of invoice, as earlier I said, or the last date on which invoice is required to be issued under section 31(4), right? So the last date prescribed for raising the invoices are discussed, like before or at the time of issue of each successive statement of accounts or successive payments, or before or at the time of receipt of such successive payment. So very clear, like when the statement of accounts are shared with the recipient of goods, then at the time of sharing or at the time of successive sharing statement of accounts, such the invoices has to be raised, or if the payment for that successive statement is made earlier than the statement of account, then that has to be considered. So there are two things to consider here. First is the time of supply will be based on the date of invoice if it is raised, or the date on which it is required to be issued, the earlier of the two dates. So date on which it is required to be issued is the date is either it can be a date of issue of each such statement of accounts, like when the creditor debits the account of the buyer, or at the time of receipt of such successive payment, right? So very important provision. So this was the provision that has been described, time of supply of goods. So very straightforward provisions, like in case of forward charge you have to keep in mind two things. the invoice, the tax liability will arise either on the raising of invoices or the date on which invoice was required to be issued. सो टैक्स लायबिलिटी कब आपका राइज होगा, जब आप इन्वॉइस रेज कर रहे हैं या तो जब आपको कोई इन्वॉइस रेज करना था, तो आपको इन्वॉइस करना था वो सेक्शन 31(2) बता रहा है। अगर कोई सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स पे मूवमेंट ऑफ गुड्स इन्वॉल्व था, मतलब गुड्स का मूवमेंट हो रहा है, देन बिफोर और द टाइम ऑफ रिमूवल ऑफ गुड्स सच इन्वॉइस हैज़ टू बी इशूड, राइट। अगर कोई सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स का मूवमेंट नहीं हो रहा है, देन द टाइम एट विच इट इज हैंडेड ओवर फॉर डे or made available to the recipient will be considered as the date on which invoice should have been raised. So earlier of the two dates will be considered as the date on which tax liability would arise, right, in case of forward charge. So in case of reverse charge, I told that there will be 4 dates when you need to consider: either date of receipt of goods by the recipient, date payment entry is made by the recipient of goods, date on which the account of the recipient gets debited, bank account of the recipient gets debited, and fourth is the date immediately following 30 days from the date of issue of any document or invoice by the suppliers, right. So earlier of the 4 dates will be considered as the date on which the tax liability will arise. So where the time of supply cannot be ascertained as above, the date of entry in the books of accounts of business shall be the time of supply of goods. So the third case was in case of supply of vouchers. So in case vouchers के supply के केस में क्या होता है कि अगर जनरली डेट ऑफ इशू वाउचर माना जाता है अगर वो सप्लाई आइडेंटिफाइबल है जब आपको वाउचर इशू किया जा रहा है, राइट। सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स इज आइडेंटिफाइबल एट द टाइम द वाउचर इज यू, बट अगर आपको सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स आइडेंटिफाइबल नहीं है जब आपको वाउचर इशू किया जाता है, तब आपको रिडम्पशन डेट के हिसाब से जाना चाहिए टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई का, राइट। सो कमिंग टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, इन केस ऑफ कंटिन्यूस सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स, इन केस ऑफ कंटिन्यूस सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स the earlier of the following dates would be considered. So what are the dates that has to be considered? Date of issue of invoice or the last date on which invoice should be required to be issued under section 31(4). इसका सही है, तो इसमें लास्ट डेट क्या होता है? It has been described under section 31(4) which says the time on which the statement of accounts is made available for successive supplies or टाइम ऑफ रिसिप्ट ऑफ सच सक्सेसिव पेमेंट. सो इन दोनों का जो अर्लियर होगा, सो दैट वुड बी कंसिडर्ड एज द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ रेजिंग द इनवॉइस एंड पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्सेस. So that was about time of supply. There are some other criteria aspects that I would tell you. So one is in case of supply of goods through e-commerce, in case of supply of goods or service through e-commerce, the same as discussed above will apply. Means there are no separate provisions. They will have to be determined based on the criteria that has been discussed above, right? So you'll have a question like what would happen in case of composite supply. So in case of composite supply, there is a very straightaway provisions. In case of composite supply, the principal supply plays a major role in determining the time of supply. If the principal supply constitute a supply of goods, then the time of supply of goods would be considered for determining the time of for payment of taxes. If the principal supply is a service in a composite supply, then the time of supply of service would be considered important, right? So that's important. So now moving to the time of supply of service, which has been discussed under section 13. So let us see what is there. First is the time of supply in case of forward charge. So in case of forward charge, the provision says the earlier of the following dates would be considered as the time of supply. So where the invoice has been issued either before completion of service or within 30 days of completion of provision of service, then date of issue of invoice or date when the supplier makes receipt in books, date on which supplier's bank account gets credited. So very straight away provision. 3 dates have to be looked into. First, on with the date of when the invoice is issued. Second, date when which he receives the payment. Third, when he makes the entry in the books of account for receipt of payment. So all of the 3 dates would be considered as the date on which tax liability gets triggered in a case where the invoice have been issued before completion of services or it has been issued within 30 days of supply of services, right? So let us see what is there if it is not issued within 30 days of completion of service. The provision say date of provision of service, date of provision of service, date of provision of completion of service, you can say, or date when the supplier receives the payment in his bank account, or date on which the supplier makes entry in the books of accounts regarding the payment. So 3 criteria here also. Only 1 criteria gets changed. Earlier when the date of invoice was there, so it has been received with date of provision of completion of service, right? So if the invoice has been not received within 30 days of provision of service. So very straightaway provision, but important one. So let us see what is there in case of reverse charge of invoices. So the reverse charge would be considered in case, provision would be considered applicable in case of import of service also. So the earlier of the following dates would be considered as the date of time of supply in case of reverse charge of services. The date on which payment is entered in the books of account of the recipient means the date on which the payment entry of has been made by the recipient. Second, on date on which the payment has been debited from the bank account of the recipient. And third is the date immediately following 60 days from the day issue of invoice or in the document by the supplier. So there are 3 important dates to be kept in mind. First is the date of payment to the supplier entered in the books of the recipient. Second is the date is the bank accounts get of the debited of the recipient. The third is the 60 days have been passed date immediately after 60 days of invoice that has been raised by the supplier. So considering the 3 provisions, the earlier of the dates will be considered as the date on which tax liability will arise. So if it is not possible to determine the time of supply based on criteria as discussed above in A and B, the time of supply will be the date of entry in the books of accounts of recipient of supply. So the time of supply would be considered as a date on which the recipient of supply of service makes an entry regarding acknowledging the receipt of service, right? Moving to the next part, that is in case of associated enterprise as per section 92A of the IT Act where the supplier of service is outside India. So in case of associated enterprise, so we have discussed the case of import of service that has been covered under point B. So this case is different in case of associated enterprise where the associated enterprise is located outside India and he is a service provider. So in that case, date of entry in the books of account of recipient of supply or date of payment as per books of account of recipient would be the date that would be considered for time of supply. So very important, very simple also, like the date on which the receiver of service makes payment entry in the books of accounts, the date on which the payment actually gets debited from the bank account of the recipient, right? So earlier both dates would be considered as the time of supply on which the tax liability gets triggered. So in case where the associated enterprise is located in India and supplier of services in India, so the same rules as we discussed in point B would be applicable in this case also. So now let's see the point E where it is discussed on the case of continuous supply of service. So we discussed supply of goods, now we will be discussing on the continuous supply of service. So it's very similar to the meaning that I discussed in supply of goods. So continuous supply of service basically means the services which spreads over more than one period, right? Means like there is a monthly billing, or there may be continuous supply of service in the box contract or the setting of a new movable property. So in those cases it will be considered as continuous supply of services. In those cases so the time of supply is the date of issue of invoice or the last date on which invoice is required to be issued under section 31(5) or the date of receipt payment. So very simple provision here also, either it will be date of issue of invoices or the last date on which the invoice was required to be issued or the date of issue of payment by the supplier. So what is the last date meaning as per section 31(5)? So the last date meaning as per section 31(5) is if the due date of payment is ascertainable, is known from the contract, means then before that such due date arises, you have to raise the invoices. The time of supply would be such and that. And if the due date of payment is not ascertainable from the contract, then before or the time the supplier of service receive the payment, right? And if the payment is linked to the completion of an event, and then before the completion of that event, the time of supply would arise. So very simple provision to keep 3 dates in mind: date of issue of invoices, second is date of receipt of payment by the supplier, and third is the last date on which the invoice was required to be issued by the supplier. So earlier of the 3 dates would be considered as the time of supply. So what is the date on which the invoice should be issued? First is if the scheduled date of payment is known, then the invoice should be issued prior to that completion of scheduled date, on or before scheduled date. If the scheduled date for payment is not known, then when such payment has to be made prior to the payment, the invoice order has to be raised. If payment has been linked to some completion of a milestone or an event, then invoice has to be linked before the payment is made. Then based on that, the time will be determined. Right. So there are certain special criteria also, special cases also, which I have not discussed here, like in case of goods sent on approval basis. So there are different time of supply that has been provided for that. So I have not discussed that here. So we'll discuss it on my next presentation. Hope you'll find this video very useful. In case of any query, please connect with me in my in the email ID given in the description box. I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe my channel so that you continue getting my updated videos. Thank you everyone. Thanks.